Hey everyone, we're back here live at IMEX 19 in Frankfurt, and we are so excited, Alex and I, to have Danielle joining us from Hard Rock. And we were getting into some of the conversations about corporate sponsorship, because putting on an event of any kind, you know, you can't always do it yourself. And in some cases, the registration fees aren't even a thing, right? So how do you craft those relationships? Danielle works inside the at the properties at the
I work at the
level.
corporate offices, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to let her talk a little bit about all the cool things she does and then the things they've got coming for IMEX Vegas.
Well, and so let's talk about, first of all, what my role is with the company. My responsibility is to grow the global sales team because our portfolio of hotels is rapidly growing. At this point, we have 37 hotels in the development pipeline. We presently today have 28 hotels. So think about that over the course of 5 years. We have a lot of hotels coming into some really cool destinations.
Are they all growing in North America, or is this a global expansion?
It is a global expansion. So we have the Maldives, which opens this summer, as well as Cabo. Our Hollywood property will be opening with their expansion this fall. So there'll be 1,300 rooms, 1,300 rooms and 120,000 square feet of space. Wow. It's the guitar that everybody has been seeing these days. So that's opening. And then next year we start to roll into New Orleans. We have Budapest. We have Madrid. We recently signed with one of our partners that we're working with in Madrid to do Barcelona. That will open in 2022. And it just goes on and on and on. So it's a global expansion. We got Chicago in the horizon, New York. So we've got wonderful resorts as well as, exotic destinations.
Ooh, I like it.
So that's my responsibility again is to grow the global sales team so that we can continue to drive business to all these properties. We have lots of hungry mouths to feed, and so because we're Hard Rock, and you've probably seen our campaign here at IMEX. It's anything but beige, because we're not beige. We're not beige. You know, and it works for some brands. You know, there's some of the chains. You know, that standardization is what the customers come to expect. But with Hard Rock, I think what makes us unique is that, number one, music is our true differentiator. We don't just put it on the brand and say it's music. It truly is music. Our brand started in 1971 when Peter Morton and Isaac Tigert opened the Hard Rock Cafe in London. It's still there. The original cafe is still there. And it opened to rave reviews. And it was so busy that Eric Clapton decided he would put his guitar over his favorite seat. And that's how he saved his seat. And then...
But it gets better. And I just got chills. Oh, my Danielle.
Pete Townsend said, "Oh, but mine's better."
Of course.
And that is how the memorabilia collection started. Yeah. We have 81,000 pieces of memorabilia in the collection. It's a priceless collection. So we resonate with music. And we find that music is, you know, it's an appreciative by everybody because everybody has a genre of music that they like. So we think we are a brand for all generations, and excuse me. So the uniqueness then carries through to each property because each property that we build, we look at the community that it's going into, and that's what sets the tone for the design. Mm-hmm. That's what sets the tone for the architecture and the memorabilia that goes in. So it's a very unique brand.
So there's a localization aspect to it as well, and I think that's important to recognize when you think about who our audience here is at IMEX, because we're from so many different places, and there really is going to be a Hard Rock for everyone, right?
That's the hope.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about kind of how the partnership came about and what the goals are of that.
And so we wanted to introduce the brand so that they understood that it's different, and so we decided that we wanted to create an environment that was going to be different. And the best way we felt to get the best exposure was to become part of the hosted buyer lounge. And so we branded it, showing the unique aspects of the properties. The banner covers are different pictures of the memorabilia. And then some of the other assets were to show where we were growing globally. And what we liked about this is that we had the opportunity to speak to the buyers. Yeah. But it was on their own terms. It wasn't a strong sales pitch. It was about here's who we are. this is where we're going, this is our booth, come talk to us. And quite honestly, we have considerable amount of appointments in the booths over the next couple of days. Our group stand appointments are sold out, but we've had a lot of foot traffic. And it's amazing to see the excitement and the interest in the brand, and the fact that they do offer unique experiences. It's an immersive experience. They also like the fact that our brand is built around philanthropy. In the early days, that we have one guiding principle, and that's love all, serve all. And then we have 3 core values, which is take time to be kind, save the planet, and all is one. So all of that rolls up into a philanthropic effort. And today, all of our planners seem to be very focused on paying it forward,
Yes.
both at the corporate level and then withdrawing their audience in and providing programming to do that.
And I think it's really interesting that you mentioned that, Danielle, because it really highlights the individuality of the sponsorship agreements you can craft. It's no longer just, I need a sponsor for my lanyards. It's something about, you have needs, we have needs.
Right.
How do we put those on
Right.
paper so that it serves the end user and still allows us as separate brands to unite to really create that ultimate user experience that is memorable?
And that's why we liked the thought process with the hosted buyer lounge. And as we talked about walking over here today, again, because music is a differentiator, and because we have these wonderful programs that we offer to our transient guests, we talked about the fact that the programming is called Sound of Your Stay, and there's picks. And for example, with picks, you can, when you check into the hotel, you can ask the agent at the desk to send up a Fender guitar with a set of headphones, so you can play music in your room without interrupting, the folks next door.
That's awesome.
So we said, well, that's a great program. Why not pull that over into the MICE branded programming?
Yeah.
And so we're teasing it now, and the whole idea is that we will use the hosted buyer lounge in Las Vegas to begin to introduce this MICE branded programming, which the planners that we've talked with, they all love the idea. It'll be a great way to do networking and a great way for receptions
and a nice way to just relax. I mean, when we were finding the attendee perspective, the people having the most fun in the hosted buyer lounge were the ones at the foosball table and the interactivity. Like, it just really brought you together and allowed conversation to happen that sometimes we get siloed here, especially when you're traveling by yourself. So it was a nice knock on the door to introduce yourself.
Right.
All right. Anything else you have?
Yeah, no, I just think that, obviously it's a good time to be in the hard rock business.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
But, I'm curious to hear a bit about what that process was working with IMEX in developing, was that something that they drove, reaching out to you and saying, what do you want to do? Or was that something that you pushed?
Well, I've had a long relationship with the team here at IMEX, all the way back to my days working with the WIN organization. And we've always, in my past as well as here with Hard Rock, we look for different ways to achieve our objective.
Absolutely.
We don't want it to be cookie cutter. We want it to be something different. And so when we were visiting with Richard, we said we don't want to do banners. We don't want to do. We want something different, and he suggested the hosted buyer lounge.
Okay.
And what we really liked was the ability that we could personalize it and we could make it ours.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, what should we have asked you as a corporate sponsor and someone who works with a lot of people on the event side? What's the one thing you would pass along to them as they start those relationships, as they're negotiating through those relationships? What's your one takeaway?
I think what we find with the IMEX people is that the team, they're just collaborative. They listen to us and they say, well, we may not be able to do this, but let's think about a different idea, And so all the way through, they've been extremely collaborative. They're very customer focused, and we just really find them great to work with.
All right. Well, I think that's fantastic. We're moving in towards the end of our day, guys. Thank you again to Danielle for coming and talking with us.